Classic.
A warm July night in the Steel City. Temperature right now 85 degrees as we're getting set for the 65th renewal of baseball's All-Star Game. The fourth time the city of Pittsburgh has played host, the first two times at Old Forbes Field. And now this is the second time here at Three Rivers Stadium, where All-Stars like Willie Stargell and Roberto Clemente played at least a portion of their Hall of Fame careers. And here's a look at the American League lineup put together by Cito Gaston and faced tonight by starter Greg Maddux, Roberto Alomar at second base. From the Blue Jays, the Yankees, Wade Boggs at third. Ken Griffey Jr. starts in center field for the fifth consecutive year. Frank Thomas, and we'll tell you about his truly remarkable numbers when he comes to the plate. The White Sox first baseman will hit cleanup. Joe Carter in left, the game-winning home run, of course, in the World Series last year against the Phillies. Kirby Puckett, an all-star perennial, is in right field from the Twins. Cal Ripken Jr. making a record 11th consecutive start at shortstop for the American League. Ivan Rodriguez, the Texas Rangers young catcher, second All-Star appearance at age 22. And Jimmy Key from the Yankees, with a record of 13-2, will pitch. Ozzie Smith is standing at shortstop for the National League. He's the oldest player in the game, but still spry. This might be his last All-Star game, so he seized the moment. The trademark flip when he hit the diamond at Three Rivers. Do it, Wizard. The shadows growing longer for Ozzie Smith at age 39. Roberto Alomar stands in, and Maddux starts him with a strike. How appropriate that the first hitter in this All-Star game should hail from Puerto Rico, the homeland of the great Roberto Clemente. They dedicated a statue to him outside Three Rivers earlier this week. The 0-1 pitch. Moves him back 1-1. The plate umpire is Paul Runge from the National League. John Shulock of the American League at first. Jerry Lane, National League, at second. Rocky Rowe, American League, at third. Bill Hahn of the National League, left field. Jim Joyce of the Americans, right field. And Alomar drops a bunt, but it rolls foul. Alomar hitting .313. Appearing in his fifth All-Star game, one for San Diego, 4 in the American League as a representative of the Blue Jays. Piazza with the sign. Maddux, as usual, ahead on the count. Hit to Ozzie. Easy for the Wizard. One down to his Cardinal teammate Greg Jeffers.
Batting second, third baseman.
Joe, let's take a look at the National League defensively.
Well, Barry Bonds in left field. Tony Gwynn, normally a right fielder who would want to Gold Glove in center. Justice in right. Williams Smith on the left side. Duncan and Jeffries on the right. Piazza behind the mound. And Maddux on the mound.
Wade Boggs hitting .331 with 9 homers. Likes to look at several pitches usually. Takes one at the knees for a strike. This will be the 12th time in a 13-year career that Boggs hits better than 300. Hits this one toward the middle, and Ozzie can't flag it down. Boggs is a .350 hitter in 9 previous All-Star games, and he starts this one with a hit.
Batting third, center fielder from the
fastball from Maddux right down the middle, and Boggs right on it. Hit it in the center. You said a moment ago, Bob, the guy takes pitches left and right, strike one, strike two. I don't know if there's a better two-strike hitter in the game, but he's amongst the best. I guarantee you that.
So Boggs at first with one down for Ken Griffey Jr. with Frank Thomas on deck. Jr. won the home run derby here yesterday with 7 of them. And here's a drive into the gap in left center field, and Gwynn won't get to it. It splits them and goes to the wall. Boggs on his way to third and stopped there by Gene Lamont, the White Sox manager who's coaching at third. Junior liked the first pitch he saw, Joe. Goes the opposite way, and he has tremendous power in that direction for the two-bagger.
Well, Greg Maddux usually features a fastball and a changeup. You can't tell the difference sometimes. He starts Griffey off with a fastball, and he gets it up. And Griffey just laces it in the gap in left center field. No chance for anyone to run that one down.
The pursuit of Roger Maris has him at 33 at midseason, same as Matt Williams of the National League. One better than this guy, Frank Thomas of the White Sox. Maris had 33 at the break in 1961 when he caught Ruth. And there's a fastball for a strike to Thomas. How many power hitters, you take as many pitches as Thomas does?
You know, there's an argument about that. You won't get it from Frank Thomas, though, Bob. He's one of those guys that is disciplined. He says no matter what the situation is, runners aboard, he's going to take pitches that he doesn't think he can handle. I think a lot of people think he ought to swing at more pitches. I mean, balls that he can reach that are reachable for him to pick up RBIs.
Off the outside edge and low. The American Leaguers threatening in the top of the first. Boggs at third, Griffey at second.
Yeah, that guy at Chicago hitting behind him, Julio Franco's having a heck of a year because of it.
A ball and a strike to the Big Hurt. And Maddux steps off and wants to confer with Piazza. That'll give us a chance to put the numbers back up for Frank Thomas. His on-base percentage is better than .500. Look at that slugging percentage. If he maintains that, listen carefully, only one man in baseball history will have slugged higher in a single season, and his name is Babe Ruth. And he did it only twice, with back-to-back seasons in 1920 and 21, over 800. He hits it right on the nose, and Gwynn comes charging in and can't make the play. Scoring from third is Boggs. Griffey stops at third, and we'll see how they score it. Now remember, Gwynn has played only one game in center field in the last 5 years, and that was Sunday, just to get him ready for this All-Star game. He had to replace Lenny Dykstra in the starting lineup, and he played Sunday, the last game before the break, in center against the Expos.
Here it is again, a sinking line drive off the bat. That ball short hopped him. Looked like it hit the turf first. Get another look. Yep. It's a base hit.
And an RBI for Frank Thomas. So the American League trying to extend a 6-game winning streak. In front 1-0, 3 consecutive hits off Maddux. Here's Carter. And he swings on the first one. They're wasting little time.
Well, Greg Maddux comes right after you, John. I mean, Bob, he does not fall behind many hitters.
An early tribute to John Miller, your partner on ESPN, the great Oriole announcer. At least it's out of the way.
Okay, get it out of the way.
Here's the 0-1 to Carter. Lined, and Maddux grabs it, and there's the DP. Maddux is a terrific fielding pitcher, and he helped himself there. They scalded the ball against him in this inning, but the DP bails him out with only 1 run scoring. National Leaguers coming up. First coming up in Three Rivers. There's a Pennsylvania boy, the Bills quarterback Jim Kelly. Training camp still a ways off, and tonight's National League lineup presented by Budweiser. Greg Jeffries from the town where they brew Bud. St. Louis will lead it off. Gwynn, Bonds, Piazza to follow. Williams, Justice, Duncan, Smith, and the pitcher Maddux, the 4-time Gold Glove award-winning Maddux, who got himself out of a tough first inning by starting the line drive DP. Jeffries, the former Met and Royal switch hitter, batting right against Key. Fastball high to start it. Jeffries averaged 5th best in the National League. Hit .342 in his first season as a Cardinal in '93. And the fastball is walloped down the line and left. 1 hop off the wall. Carter to play the carom. Jeffries with a leadoff double. You got 2 guys starting who are prime Cy Young Award candidates, but this one looks like a candidate for a slugfest.
Well, again, Joe talked earlier about the high fastballs from Maddux. This is a high fastball from Jimmy Key right down Main Street, and Jeffries right on it. Carter, no chance to play this ball. Off the wall, it's an easy double for Jeffries. Tying run at second.
for Tony Gwynn, whose .383 average leads the National League, ties him with Frank Thomas for the Major League's best. And he takes a strike at the knees. Four-time batting titleist. This will be the 12th consecutive year he's top 300, longest streak in the National League since Musial did it 16 straight times. Barry Bonds on deck. A ball and a strike. You know, Joe, we were talking about the pursuit of 400. You've got an interesting point of view.
Well, I believe that if you had Rod Carew, George Brett playing today, one of those two guys would hit over 400, and Wade Boggs would have an outside chance if he was in his prime.
With the level of pitching the way it is right now, he jammed him on that one, and Thomas is going to take it himself. But Jeffries advances to third with one out. Met there by the Pirate manager, Jim Leland, who got a rousing ovation from the hometown fans. He's coaching at third base for Jim Fregosi.
Balance, Carter, Griffey, and Puckett in the outfield left to right. Boggs at third, Ripken at short. Alomar at second with Big Frank Thomas at first. It's Ivan Rodriguez catching, and left-hander Jimmy Keon for the Americans.
Bonds stands in, not so warmly greeted by his ex-hometown fans. And he drives one to right, but he didn't get all of it. Back on the track is Kirby Puckett, and a strider so from the wall he makes the catch. Credit Bonds with a sacrifice fly as Jeffries comes across to tie it at one apiece.
Well, both of these pitches are very similar. They rely on the off-speed pitches and the breaking ball. This is a breaking ball to Bonds. You can see him check for a second and then take a powerful cut. He just misses this ball. Now watch, he'll take a stride and then he'll stop again. Right there. He holds himself to wait on the breaking ball, and then he tries to muscle it out, and he can't quite get it out.
How important that little ground ball hit by Tony Gwynn, though, Joe, to get the runner to third.
And a strike to the cleanup man, Mike Piazza. The last time any catcher, with all due respect to Fisk and Munson and the others, any catcher put up numbers like Piazza has in his first season and a half, it was your old teammate Johnny Bench, Joe. The off-speed pitch hit to the right side, and Frank Thomas takes the soft liner. So the Nationals come back to even it, tied at one after one. One run on 3 hits for the Americans. 1 run on a lone hit for the Nationals. Maddox will work the full 3 if he can get through this inning. Paul Molitor pinch hits, batting for Jimmy Key, and that's his 1 swing of the night because he won't play the field. So Paul Molitor grounds out to Greg Jeffries unassisted to start the 3rd, and we go down to the American League dugout where we're joined by Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Hi, Bob. Well, Jimmy, how was it out there? You said you didn't know what to expect when you went out.
Well, it wasn't quite as bad as I thought, but you know, I was just trying to throw the ball over the plate and get it over with, and they hit 6 balls at people, and I was able to get 6 outs and only gave up the 1 run, so it wasn't that bad.
What was the highlight for you?
I think probably the last out I got to get it over with, and now I can move on with the regular season.
We talked about the fact that when you were a kid, you never envisioned being in an all-star game because you didn't think that you would be here. But now that you look back on it, will you treasure this later?
Yes, I will. You know, once my career's over, this is definitely something I'll look back on as one of the highlights of my career.
Good luck to you and the Yankees in the second half. Bob?
Well, Hannah, Mariano Duncan stayed with that one. And from what would be the outfield grass on a natural surface field, he throws Robbie Alomar out.
Well, Mariano Duncan's a very good second baseman. Not so good at third, but he's good at second. Knocks the ball down. At second, you can do this. Knock it down, pick him up, and throw him out. And again, he's very deep. Just blocks the ball, gets a good hop off the AstroTurf, and he's able to throw Roberto Alomar out.
Boggs singled and scored in the 1st and takes a strike. You mentioned that if he were at his very peak, and to keep it in perspective, he's hitting .331, Joe, but at his very peak in the mid-80s where he had that stretch hitting around .360 almost every year, you thought he could hit .400 against this year's level of pitching. In fact, he hit .401 in a 162-game stretch from mid-1985 to mid-1986.
I believe both Boggs, Brett, and of course Rod Carew, all 3 could probably do that. And I no doubt in my mind that Carew could hit 400 with the pitching as it is today. I think he's a little more scientific hitter than the other two.
And Tony Gwynn hit .399 from last July 1st to this June 30th. So in the vicinity. 2-2.
What about that guy at first base tonight for the Americans, Joe? We talked about him yesterday, too. I mean, as many times as he walks and playing on the artificial surfaces that are featured in a lot of parks now. I mean, watching that guy day in and day out, you'd think he'd have to be included in that trio also.
A called strike 3 finishes Boggs. Tough start for Maddox, but he works 2 perfect innings to close. We've got a new pitcher as we move to the bottom of the 3rd, David Cone for the American League, and he's going to face Ozzie Smith to start it. And before Ozzie steps in with his counterpart at shortstop, the Orioles' Cal Ripken says about the Wizard.
I'm very envious because I'm a big, cumbersome type of person. I have to really rely on my positioning to cover this ground. Here he is someone that is very graceful and quick, and he stands right in the middle saying, if it's a left-hand hitter or a right-hand hitter, I can catch that, I can catch this, I can make all the plays. So I enjoy watching all the different types of shortstops, and most of the time I'm envious of their abilities. He's the one I think everyone's envious of.
Ripken had a year once where he made only 3 errors, and that's the record. Ozzie jumps on the first pitch, and a meek fly ball to center field that Ken Griffey Jr. takes care of. Ozzie defined the position for a generation, though. 13 Gold Gloves, and his election this year, when Barry Larkin is really the superior player at this point, Ozzie 39 years old, is kind of in the category of a Lifetime Achievement Award, but he deserves it.
You know, the first time I went into St. Louis with the Brewers Bob in the '82 series and saw this guy come out of the dugout and do that flip going to shortstop and drove the fans crazy. And I mean, it was a big part of their win. This guy is really something. And watch him do it here tonight. Again, I tried earlier during batting practice. No good. Does that hurt?
He'll be 40 the day after Christmas. Best guess is 1 more year. And then retirement 5 years later. Bagwell bats for Maddox. There are 3 players in this game. Bagwell from the Astros is at the plate now. Albert Bell, the Indians, whom we'll see later, and Frank Thomas of the White Sox. Shots at the Triple Crown, which hasn't been won in either league since Carl Yastrzemski of the Red Sox in '67.
Well, the problem is they have to beat each other out. In the American League, both Bell and, of course, Thomas. Then you have Griffey leading in home runs.
Bagwell fouls it back. He's hitting .348. Consider that number, a right-handed hitter without much speed at .348. 27 homers, and the Astrodome is his home park. 82 RBIs. Started out as the property of the Red Sox. A trade they no doubt regret. Full count.
We watched him yesterday in the home run hitting contest following Ken Griffey Jr. and the American League dugout going crazy.
And a pinch single for him here with 1 out in the 3rd.
After Griffey hit about 6 balls in the upper deck, Bagwell came on and tried to duplicate to left. There was no chance, Joe.
A very tough act to follow. But the interesting thing about Bagwell is he has become a better hitter each year.
These two have no excuse for not sending one another a birthday card. Each born May 27th, 1968. Bagwell in Boston, Thomas in Columbus, Georgia. Jeffries swings at a pitch he wished he hadn't offered at. Rodriguez have room. It goes off his glove. He wasn't sure. Remember, he's an American leaguer, unfamiliar with this park, perhaps not sure where the lip of the dugout was or the fence, and he kind of stabbed at that ball at the last minute.
Well, he's at his own dugout, Bob. He should have gotten a little more help there, but he had a lot more room than he thought. He was right near the camera area down there. He jumped up. Really didn't have to jump. That ball was in by plenty. Popped away, no play on him. There's Boggs right alongside.
Jeffries a switch hitter. Doubled to left as a right-handed batter off Jimmy Key earlier in the game and scored the National League run.
There you see what David Cone is famous for, a good hard slider. Jeffrey started for it, but broke in so sharply, would have been jammed if he would have continued to swing.
Tony Gwynn says of Cone, best stuff in the majors. I don't know why he doesn't win 30. 1-2. Did it hit him? Yeah, it nicked him. Down to second goes Bagwell as Jeffries is hit by a pitch.
And remember, it doesn't have to hit you. Just touch your uniform, and that's all it does there. Let's take another look and see it just touches his uniform. It does not have to hit your body.
And now with a runner at second, Rodriguez to talk it over with Cone.
They feel a lot better on the uniform than they do in the ribs, Joe. I know that. We were talking earlier about it. The fact that here it is again. Little inside fastball, an 0-2 pitch from Cone, and not a bad pitch at all. Not a bad zone. He just nicked the uniform of Jeffries, but he hit him.
Gwynn grounded out his first time. Takes a fastball high.
This may be Gwynn's best year overall because he's driving in runs. He has 49 runs batted in, which is a lot for him. He'll probably surpass his career high this year.
He's the only Padre on the team, but there are 6 former Padres combined in the game, the most of any team, which makes a statement about the state of their franchise. He's ahead 2-0, and that's when he's most dangerous. Hits it hard down the right field line and in there for extra bases. Bagwell scores. Jeffries with good speed to third. Leland waves him home. They have trouble with the carom. Alomar's relay. Safe. He slid around the tag. And Gwynn comes up with 2 RBIs on the double down the right field line.
Great slide there by Jeffries at home plate. The throw actually beat him. Rodriguez could not block him off the plate. But you mentioned Tony Gwynn. When he gets you 2-0, he can take the ball any place he wants. He decides to pull it, and he finds the corner. And now the ball will bounce away from Puckett. Puckett gets there. Now it bounces away. Jeffries being waved all the way. And watch the slide. Beautiful slide, eluding the tag of Rodriguez.
Bonds had a sacrifice fly his first time. Swings on the first one and doesn't get it.
Here it is again. Jeffries coming around the outside of Rodriguez. Rodriguez had the plate blocked up front, Joe. He came around. Jeffries came around the outside. Look where he's got his foot. He's got the plate blocked. Jeffries with a beautiful slide to get the back part of the plate.
There's that devastating slider from Cone.
With that downward action, and Bonds just kind of waving at it.
Well, the problem is it looks like a fastball until it gets about halfway to the plate. And you have to respect his fastball because he'll throw it right by you.
Gwynn at second, 1 out. National League leads it 3-1. There goes the bat, and there goes Bonds back to the dugout, made to look foolish by David Cone. And the fans here get on him. In contrast to Drabek, a former Pirates Cy Young Award winner who left to go to Houston as a free agent, Bonds did the same after winning 2 of his 3 MVP awards wearing a Pirate uniform, and they booed him mercilessly during the introductions.
Well, this looks more like a curveball. You can see the spin on it, a little more downward action, but just as effective as the 2 hard sliders to Bond.
Piazza lines softly to Thomas at first to end the first for the National Leaguers, who are in front now 3-1.
Here's Bonds again, a devastating breaking ball that time. There goes the bat into the dugout.
And guess who caught it? The golden hands of Ozzie Smith. He can catch anything.
The man who can bare hand a bat. 1-1. Bonds, of course, MVP 3 times in a 4-year span and might have won it. The 1 year he didn't when Terry Pendleton got it for the Braves. Great year for Pendleton, but you could have made a case for Bonds. Piazza serves one in the left center field. Didn't hit it all that hard, but in a good spot. He's got an RBI as Gwynn comes across.
breaking ball from David Cone that stayed up. Piazza waiting back nicely. Didn't hit it all that hard, but he got enough of it for the RBI base hit. Here it is again. Little breaking ball that time. He reached out and punched that ball. Get it up above the trademark. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you look at Piazza. Here's a guy who was a 62nd round draft choice. A called strike to Matt Williams. I'm not talking about the 62nd player. I'm talking about 62nd round, widely viewed as a courtesy pick because his dad Vince is a close pal of Tommy Lasorda's. He develops possibly into one of the great players of his generation. After a year and a half, all the signs are there.
Well, if you're 62nd or 72nd, it's better than being drafted where I was.
Which was where? Into the Navy?
Service.
I'm stepping on, you're stealing your lines here.
Sorry,
I just guessed.
It was on our side. That's all that counted at that time.
1-1 to Williams.
Waited for scouts for years.
And he couldn't catch up with the heat from Cone. What's that story about when the scout came to your house talking to your dad?
Oh, yeah, when they signed me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the $3,000 bonus. Yeah. My dad couldn't afford it, but he gave it up. Braves took it. It was great to be signed. That's all that mattered.
I'll tell you, David Cone will give you some very uncomfortable at-bats, especially if you're not used to looking at him. But they punch 3 across. Back after this from your local station. Top of the order in the top of the 6th for the American League, and a new pitcher, Doug Drabek. Bad first year after he went to Houston. He's turned it around this time. Terrific stretch here for the Pirates. Won the Cy Young Award in 1990, and yet this is his first All-Star appearance. Alomar 0 for 2. You know, it's not all that uncommon. Tonight's starter, Greg Maddux, Cy Young Award last year, just 8-8 at the break. Didn't make the All-Star team. There have been 17 Cy Young Award winners and 7 MVPs who did not participate in the All-Star game that year. Line through the box, a base hit for Alomar.
Drabek is an off-speed type of pitcher. He'll throw a lot of breaking balls, curveballs, sliders, and changeups. But he will throw the fastball to get the sinking fastball to get the double play. This is a breaking ball that hangs right in the middle of the plate. Good hitting there by Alomar. He didn't try to pull it, just lined it right back through the middle.
So the American League trying to get something shaking here in the 6th. Boggs has singled and struck out. He's shown some pop this year, 9 home runs. That's already his 2nd highest total. He had 24 in the lively ball year of 1987, which stands out as a real aberration in his long career.
This is not a lively ball year.
Well, I guess it is. You believe it's juiced, huh?
Yes, I do.
Uke, wouldn't you like to grab a bat, that juice ball this year?
I'm happy where I am.
Alomar bluffs a go, and Boggs takes a strike. Talk about Drabek not making the All-Star team in a Cy Young year. And some players complain the rosters are limited. Put it in perspective. Hank Greenberg was the unanimous MVP in 1935, and at the break he had 103 RBIs. Alomar running, and Boggs fouls it off. 25 homers, 103 RBIs, and the teams were selected by the managers. And the manager was his own player manager and teammate, Mickey Cochran of the Tigers, and he leaves Greenberg off the team. So if Biff Roberts complains or John Franco complains, hey, others have had it worse.
Maybe a personality conflict, huh?
Salary conflict for sure.
On the outside corner, and you're looking at a rarity. A double strikeout game for Wade Boggs.
Here it is, a fastball that is around the outside corner. A little tailored from Drabek. I don't know if that was a strike or not, but Boggs doesn't take too many like that. Here it is again. Another look off the outside corner. That's a bad call.
You know what? You tend to believe that with an eye like Boggs, when he strikes out looking, you tend to believe it might have been a missed call.
Don't pitchers love those pitches?
All right, here's Junior. doubled and grounded to first.
It's one of those pitches where Piazza turns around to the umpire and says a lot of guys wouldn't call that. Tough pitch to call, but you called it right.
Alomar on at first as Griffey fouls one off. All the talk about the pursuit of Roger Maris. Obviously, if there's a strike, there's no chance. But even if they play 162, the odds are overwhelmingly against Griffey, against Thomas, against Williams. If no one breaks it this year, Maris's record will have stood exactly as long as Ruth's stood the year Maris broke it, 34 years. And really, no one has come close. Ruth's record was challenged more often. Fox at 58, Greenberg at 58, Wilson at 56, Mays and Mantle made runs. No one has hit more than 52 since Maris hit the 61. A ball and a strike. There goes Alomar. A swing and a miss and a high fastball. The throw is not in time. Stolen base for Robbie.
Well, Robbie had a pretty good jump, not a great jump. Piazza had a shot at him, but he did not make a good throw. And watch, not a perfect jump there. And you'll see the ball coming to the pitcher. Not a good throw. It hit the turf and bounced. Good play there by Ozzie. Alomar dives to the outside of the bag, makes the tag a lot longer from Ozzie's standpoint. They kind of eye each other.
Even a good throw, Joe, if he's on the other side of the bag, if he's on the right field side of the bag, close, but I still think Alomar's in there.
Here's a pitcher's nightmare. Man in scoring position, and Griffey and then Thomas with a crack to knock him home. 2-2. You talk about a guy being ahead, whoever the guy is, this year or in the past, ahead of Maris's pace, ahead of Ruth's pace. Misleading. Maris's biggest months were July and August. Ruth hit 17 home runs in September of 1927. Lots of guys have been ahead of the pace and then tailed off.
I even think I was ahead one time, Bob, after about 3 games.
Big week, huh?
Yeah, big week.
Joe, when you look at Griffey and playing in a couple of indoor stadiums, and in difference to in those years of the Marises,
he hits it sharply into center. It'll drop in front of Grissom for a hit. They're waving Alomar home. The throw is cut off, and now they've got Griffey hung up. Bagwell cut it off, and Ozzie puts the tag on him.
Well, good hitting, but not good base running there by Griff. They really didn't have a good shot to get Alomar at the plate. He was going to score, and if Griffey could have stayed at first base, he would have been the, Frank Thomas would have been the tying run. They're waving Alomar around. He's going to make it easy. Watch, the throw is smartly cut off by Bagwell, and they take Griffey at second base. But what a wonderful hitter. Look at this. I mean, it's just a natural swing. Nothing forced when Ken Griffey's in the batter's box.
So Griff is now 2 for 3. He gets the RBI, but runs into the second out. And Thomas bats with the bases empty, and he whistles one into center for a hit.
Well, you know that's going to happen after a guy makes a base running mistake.
going back just to finish the thought on Griffey and Maris and playing indoors, Bob, later in the season. I mean, it's cool all the time. You don't have the July and August where you're outside and burning heat or standing out there in the outfield, standing on the artificially surfaced fields and standing outside, which, I mean, probably played a big part. Maris in New York, of course, you're not getting the coverage, the Griffey heat. I'm sure it's going to be heat for him, or Thomas, or Williams, or whomever.
Carter had the broken thumb late in spring training, played right through it. Before we put this subject to bed, again, perspective on how tough it is to challenge Maris's record. There are 14 players with more than 500 home runs. Outside corner for a strike. 10 of them never hit as many as 50 in a season, let alone challenge 60. The all-time leader, Hank Aaron, never hit 50. Only Ruth, Mays, Mantle, and Fox among the 14 500 home run hitters ever topped 50. Strike two. Thomas is 2 for 2 with a walk. Carter lined into a double play, fly to right. A run home in the 6th. He lays off 2-2. Puckett on deck. a show he put on yesterday. I mean, he sent some rockets into the upper deck in right, and Frank Thomas did the same in left. There were 3 or 4 that were estimated beyond 500 feet.
Thomas had the big one, they said, at 525. He hit one 519 and then followed that one into the upper deck or off the facing of the upper deck in deep left center at 525. There it is. He hit the Will Clark sign, didn't he? Oh, that's a long way.
Here's a look at it. Man, it sounded like a cannon blast.
Oh, man.
Back live, and Carter hangs with it, punching it out of play.
And you might add, it's tougher to hit a ball that far in batting practice than it is during the game because you have to supply all the power. Batting practice pitchers throwing approximately 60 miles an hour.
Of course, you got a pretty good idea where it's going to be.
Well, that's a good point.
They didn't have much of a break to it.
Thomas inches away from first. The 2-2 pitch with 2 out. Bounce toward Williams. He backs up, goes the short way, and throws it away. Thomas bounces back up. The ball loose down the line. Thomas being waved home. The throw's going to go to third. A run scores, and everybody's safe. As Joe Carter winds up at third base. Well, very uncharacteristic of Matt Williams overthrowing Garcia on the attempted force that would have ended the inning.
Little bouncer hit by Joe Carter that Williams backs up on. Here's the underhand flipper, the sidearm flip, and he just threw the ball away. Garcia never had a chance. Easy play, just threw it away. As you said, Bob, you don't see him make that play. I mean, that's an easy play. Oh, boy.
Well, a 3-base throwing error, an unearned run home, a 1-run game all of a sudden, and obviously anything they get the rest of the inning is unearned. A hit for Puckett could tie it. Back through the middle to his left. Ozzie, no chance. The game tied.
And it's a tough out at the plate anyway, and Kirby Puckett made 2 runners on base, and he drives them in. But as you mentioned, Matt Williams does not make many throwing errors.
So now Fregosi to the mound. And it's not Drabek's fault, but they'll call on his Astro teammate, John Hudek. 3 runs across, even at 4 in the 6th. We'll be back. Johnny Bench played some third base late in his career. Johnny, you take this.
He retired by playing third base, but here's Garcia at a very late pace coming down to second base. I know Williams had a little bit of a high throw, but Garcia awfully late getting there unless he anticipated the throw to first base.
From the second baseman's perspective, Joe.
I agree with John. He should have been there sooner, and I think he could have jumped straight up and maybe have caught the ball. Can't defend Matt Williams as a high throw, but he could have helped his teammate out.
In comes the only rookie in the game, John Hudek, and he does throw hard. Ripken couldn't catch up with it. He is the first guy in All-Star history to appear in an All-Star game before he wins his first big league game. Obviously, the saves are the important stat, and the ERA under 2 and nearly a strikeout an inning. But he was knocking around. He's 27 years old, released by the Tigers. Astros pick him up. Mitch Williams falters. Boom, here he is. Closer. Called strike 0-2.
I guess that begs to ask the question, how could the Tigers release a pitcher? One that makes it in the All-Star game.
You know, talking with this guy yesterday, Joe, and about his philosophy with pitching. He said, I just go right at him. He said, here it is. If you can get it, go.
The 0-2 to Ripken. Foul back.
That's got to be the slow gun. I know he's a little better than 80. What did that say, 81? 94? Okay. That's a little more like him.
I think the 81 was Piazza throwing it back.
Either that or it doubles as a thermometer.
94 miles an hour.
Ripken's 0 for 2. MVP of the 91 All-Star game in Toronto. 2-time league MVP. The 0-2 pitch to him. Struck him out. Hudek performs his specialty, but 3 runs across, 2 of them unearned. Brand new game. Scorecard sales are brisk at the All-Star game. They're a souvenir, but you also need them to keep track. Only Ripken and Rodriguez remain. You got a new pitcher, Randy Johnson, a whole new outfield. Albert Bell and Kenny Lofton from the Indians in. Ruben Sierra, the lone Oakland A on the team. Will Clark replaces Frank Thomas at first. Chuck Knobloch is in for Alomar at second. Cooper of the Red Sox at third. For the man who preceded him at that position in Boston, Wade Boggs, and Rodriguez remains as the catcher. Tied at 4, Randy Johnson. Who will ever forget what he did to John Kruk last year in Baltimore?
John Kruk.
Well, he'd like to forget it. John Kruk, not here, but his lookalike sang the national anthem. Meatloaf told me before the game, I'm here because John Kruk isn't. A ball and a strike.
You see Randy Johnson gets it up there in a hurry as well. 93 miles an hour on that fastball.
He will go to triple digits on a good night. He'll get to 100.
I wouldn't mind seeing 100 from this distance.
2 balls and a strike to Matt Williams. And a high pop into shallow right. Ruben Sierra is there. Joe, let's talk about this from an intimidation standpoint. The guy is 6'10". He has the long stride. You were a left-handed hitter.
Center fielder from the Montreal Expos.
Here's Kruk last year.
Well, Randy Johnson, of course, he doesn't have a smooth motion, first of all, so he's very intimidating. You can't pick the ball up quickly enough.
Was that on purpose?
I would hope not.
I don't think it was.
No,
really
he throws too hard for that.
Well, Kruk waved the white flag and took the K and quickly took his leave. Here's Marquise Grissom, who's in center field at this point.
When you talk about intimidation, though, Bob, give you an example. Now, we'll take a look at his motion, and this motion can intimidate you because it's unorthodox. Sandy Koufax threw harder, but he was more comfortable. He was straight over the top. He didn't really intimidate you too much. He just threw the ball right by you.
Johnson too, Joe. I was just going to say Johnson too, one of those guys that normally left-handers have that ball that really runs. I mean, this guy throwing in the high 90s with a running fastball tailing away. He doesn't have that though. Fastball basically straight. He'll throw a cutter once in a while. That little breaking ball right there. 2-2
to Grissom. Did guys throw at you, Uke?
Yeah, I was no different than anybody else. Guys threw at me a lot. Unfortunately, they were outfielders. I was in the bullpen, but you still get thrown at. If that's his off-speed stuff, it's around 80 miles an hour, 79. There's a fastball. They used to talk about the average of the average fastball, like average stuff, 87, 86, 87 miles an hour. So when you're up in the 90s, like this guy is in Hudek. Although, Joe, you know, you gotta have something else.
That's true, especially if your fastball is straight.
This ball is sliced down the line and right and gets out of the yard. Marquise Grissom goes the opposite way, and the National League takes the lead again at 5-4.
When he first swung, I thought the ball was going foul, first of all, and I didn't think it definitely would not carry all the way into the lower deck.
Well, you put all the factors together. Maybe a lively ball. Guys swinging lighter bats with greater bat speed, and Johnson providing a lot of the velocity himself. You go the opposite way, make any kind of contact, it carries, and the ball is carrying tonight at Three Rivers.
I didn't think that ball had any chance to go. As Joe said, I thought it was going foul. Nice easy swing by Grissom. Fastball again in the 90s, and he thought it was going foul too.
Carlos Garcia hits one hard into center field for a clean single. And they appreciate that at Three Rivers. Remember, this is a franchise which had Drabek and Bonilla and Bonds, and lost them all because they couldn't compete financially. If there were a poster child for revenue sharing and salary caps, the kid would be wearing a pirate hat. Standing with the new first baseman, Will Clark of the American League. This is a real sign of respect by Jim Fregosi that Ozzie Smith, hitting just .240 at age 39, goes this long in this All-Star game. And if anybody deserves what might be a final national showcase, it's Ozzie Smith.
But I also think Jim Fregosi can identify with Ozzie Smith very well in that he was a shortstop, and as he got up in age, he knew that he had to move to another position or out of the game. So I think he has a lot of respect for Ozzie, as you said.
There goes the runner, and Ozzie fouls it off.
You know, Joe, no matter how hard to get back to that thought a moment ago about Johnson and his 90-plus mile-an-hour fastball, if you don't have the breaking stuff, the little off-speed stuff to go with it, it's almost like batting practice. I don't care how hard you throw. I don't care if you throw 100. If you're sitting hard stuff all the time, and if you go up against a guy like this, if you look anything but hard stuff against him, you ought to go someplace else and play.
Right. Ozzie, a switch hitter, of course, from the right side. The 1-2 pitch from Johnson. Hit hard down the line and left, and that ball is foul. What a story that would have been for Ozzie Smith, who only recently crept past your lifetime home run total, Uke, to go deep in the All-Star game off Randy Johnson.
I'm going to tell you something. Something's wrong here. There's that ball, just foul. Just foul. And he looked like he had a breaking ball, a slider off of Johnson. There it is. I mean, right on it. And just missed. Look at the odds. Stay up, baby. Stay fair, baby. Stay fair, baby.
He doesn't have the good talking to it like Carlton Fisk had. Carlton Fisk will keep it fair for him.
Oh, how sweet would that have been?
Oh,
huh?
man.
We're in the 6th. 5-4 National League. Got him leaning, and they pitch him out. Garcia says no, but John Shulock of the American League says you bet.
Well, he definitely caught him leaning towards second base. It's a question of whether the throw gets there in time, and the tag is applied. Garcia dives back. Clark grabs it. And they almost have to agree with Garcia there.
Well, the throw beat him, but maybe the tag didn't.
No, the tag didn't beat him, but the throw definitely beat him. We'll get a better look at it from this angle and watch when his hand hits the bag. Yeah. And the fans see that on the replay.
And now the count goes full to Ozzie. Johnson, by the way, is by far the leader in pickoffs in the American League. He's got 8 in the first half of the season. Here's the 3-2. Broken bat roller to third. And across the diamond, Cooper of the Red Sox to Clark of the Rangers. National League goes in front. We're back after this from your local station. We go to the top of the 7th. Ivan Rodriguez to start it against Hudek, who ended the last inning by fanning Cal Ripken Jr. Rodriguez is 0 for 2. Robbed of a hit his last time up on a nice running catch in center by Marquise Grissom. Fastball popped back. New second baseman, Craig Biggio of the Astros. And another Astro makes his first appearance, Ken Caminiti. Caminiti, an 8-year player. This is his first appearance in an All-Star game, so a big night for him, replacing Matt Williams at third. Ozzie remains at shortstop, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Fregosi, in tribute to him, this will certainly be the last All-Star game he ever plays in a National League park. If he plays one more year, announces his retirement, and they add him to the team next year, the game will be in Texas, he might let him go all the way.
As he said with Gwynn will play the full 9, Maybe the same holds true for us.
Rodriguez sends one up the middle for a hit. So that's the way the top of the 7th starts. The American League has one backup catcher. It's Mickey Tettleton. Now, there is a rule in the All-Star game that pertains to catchers only. If the second catcher comes in and is subsequently hurt, you can reinsert the starting catcher.
And that's any other catcher you hire. Yeah.
And here's Tettleton now batting for the pitcher. So Tettleton bats for Johnson. Knobloch is on deck. And the switch hitter fouls the first one back. He's topped 30 home runs each of the last 3 years for Detroit. He's got 14 this year.
We were talking earlier, Joe, about Barry Bonds and the way he chokes. Take a look at Tettleton. He's got the bat handle, the knob, in about the middle of his hand. Look how low he carries this thing, and then the whip action to get it up and going again.
Well, they call that one finger Barry. There have been a couple of players with 2 fingers buried. That's one finger underneath the knob. Willie Stargell used to get 2 fingers underneath it. You have to be awfully strong to do that.
The 1-1 pitch. Look at the way Tettleton holds the bat, in a way reminiscent of Wes Covington, except Covington used to hold it higher, but also almost parallel to the ground. Tettleton's got it at about belt level, but held loosely and almost flat behind it.
Well, you always got to get it started from someplace. He gets it started. I mean, he gets it started when the pitch is on the way.
Maybe better start it a little sooner.
A little quicker on this guy.
Yeah, Hudek does not give you a lot of time to start it.
Here it is again on Tettleton, that fastball. Mickey with the bat back. He gets back up on top, but the ball by him. Joe, everybody talks about the hitting theories of where you should carry the bat and how you should stride, what you should do. More often than not, it's whatever's comfortable for you, let it go.
Just have to get it into hitting position before the ball gets there.
Rodriguez at first, nobody out, and this is a 3-2 pitch to Tettleton, and the runner goes, and that's ball 4. So the American League, trailing 5-4, has something going. Chuck Knobloch steps in. His dad, Ray, suffered a mild heart attack. His old high school baseball coach, a guy who played minor league ball, and here's what Chuck says about dedicating tonight's performance to him.
Yeah, he was my high school coach, and he played ball himself, and he was in San Diego, and he was hoping desperately to be here tonight, and you know, he had a mild heart attack, and I just want to say get well and get better quick.
There you see the batting glove. He flashed it during the introductions prior to the game, so his dad is watching from his hospital bed. He was there in person 2 years ago at the All-Star game in San Diego. Knobloch hits one toward the hole. Ozzie gets the force. A definitive moment from the definitive shortstop of his generation and maybe in the history of the game. 13 Gold Gloves.
Well, I'm sure Bob Uecker has not seen this play very often. I've seen it quite often, Bob. It becomes almost routine the way Ozzie makes it, but no one else in baseball could make that play except Ozzie Smith.
And now Fregosi heads to the mound. Well, you can look at it now from the outfield. I mean,
you know, when Ripken talked earlier about how big and cumbersome he was, that he had to play the hitters, not this guy.
Fregosi discussing with Hudek the merits of a shower at this juncture, and we'll take a break.
Jerry Rice for the touchdown. Kevin Garnett in full regalia. Michelle Kwan, she is graceful.
The ESPY Awards, celebrating our love of sports, Wednesday at 9 p.m.
One of the greatest battles
we are seeing a classic
golf has ever seen.
I said, Jack, this is what it's all about.
The incredible tale of the '77 British Open.
We were both caught up in the excitement. It was fun.
Sports Century, 8 p.m. Thursday on ESPN Classic.
My technique when I get in the batter's box is to dig in, pull the pant legs up. I try to point the bat to center field, knock the dirt off, and try to look real mean. What do you think of that?
Major League Baseball Charities is a proud partner of Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
Now I want to teach you about pine tar.
Through programs like RBI and Rookie League, they bring baseball and softball to kids around the world.
Don't be afraid of the ball.
Together, they create a positive place for kids.
Would you like to earn thousands of dollars working just a few hours a week? Would you like to spend more time having fun and less time worrying about money? Would you like to be a millionaire and retire in 5 years or less? Well, of course you would. Hi, I'm Carlton Sheets, and I can show you how these dreams can become a reality. For nearly 20 years, I've shown thousands of people how no down payment real estate investing can be their key to financial independence.
Since I started Carlton's course, I put around $650,000 in cash in my pocket.
We're making a little over $200,000 a year. I'm working 15 hours a week.
This year alone, in 3 months, I put...
Up steps Scott Cooper. Danny Jackson, the left-hander, on to face him. With one out, the American League has the tying run at third base. Rodriguez opened the inning with a single. Tettleton walked, and then Knobloch's bid for a base hit was snuffed out by Ozzie Smith. They got the force at second, so runners at the corners with one out. Cooper's first at-bat of this game. And this will get the run home and maybe more. Deep into left field, and Bonds watches it hit off the wall for extra bases. In comes Rodriguez, an opposite field double for Cooper, with Knobloch pulling up at third. Hey, this is a good game.
Very good game. Cooper takes this fastball. It was inside, not exactly where Danny Jackson wanted to throw it. Bonds makes a good play. Barehands it, gets it back in, and that keeps Knobloch from scoring. There's a tag up there by Rodriguez. He scores easily.
Still only one out, and they're going to pull the infield in against Kenny Lofton of the Central Division leading Cleveland Indians. He really has supplanted Ricky Henderson as the premier leadoff man in the American League. He's at .378. He's got pop, 10 home runs, 45 steals, leads the majors. Terrific bunter, on a pace for almost 250 hits. Swing and a miss.
I think this is an interesting situation here. They're playing the infield all the way in with runners at second and third.
And especially on the carpet, Joe, right. Anything hit by this guy, he can really fly, as Bob said.
But usually in a tie ball game, play back and give up the run. You're only in the seventh inning.
1-1. Lofton hangs in well against lefties, hitting .350.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Southpaws.
I'll tell you, this guy can play. Unbelievable center field. He's one of those guys that can climb the wall. He throws well.
On the inside corner, 1-2. Danny Jackson was the number 4 starter last year for Jim Fragosi's pennant winners, but now with injuries, Schilling hurt, Green hurt, Mulholland gone, Ben Rivera hurt. He's really the ace of the Phillies staff at this point, where the DL is crowded in Philadelphia. The 1-2 pitch to Lofton. Lays off. Will Clark on deck, and then if the inning keeps going, Albert Bell. Knobloch at third, Cooper at second with one out.
If you're Danny Jackson in this situation, you need a strikeout. And that fastball up and in there, that was what he wanted to get the strikeout with.
Joe, they play Lofton to hit the other way, but I tell you, this guy can pull. He can pull. He's strong. He can hit to right center. Bob said earlier he can bunt, but I can tell you he can pull.
Another 2-2 pitch. Hit toward the hole, and with the infield in, they have no chance. 1 run scores. Cooper waved home. Bonds has no play. And the American League has scored 3 times in the 7th, and they lead 7-5.
Well, that's the danger you run when you bring the infield in. The infielders have no range at all. The ball goes through there so quickly. This ball goes through before they can move. I mean, if you're back, you have a chance to keep this ball on the infield. If not, make a play. You may not be able to throw Lofton out, but you could keep the ball on the infield.
Nice piece of hitting by Lofton. A little breaking ball from Jackson out away. Took it to left field. Bonds the charge, but no play. And the Americans back on top, Bob, 7-5.
Fregosi makes the logical move with the lefties do. He brings in Jackson, but 2 straight hits by left-handed hitters, Cooper and Lofton. Here's another one, Clark. Swing and a miss, and we might see Lofton run, testing Piazza's arm. Kind of all-star game you like to see. Plenty of action. Not going. And a ball. Lofton down at first. Terrific basketball player. 6th man on Lute Olson's Arizona team that went to the Final Four in 1988. Graduated from Arizona with a degree in television. Wrote his thesis, as I understand, on Mr. Belvedere, Uke. I was shocked.
Why wouldn't you get an A on that?
Down the line and left. Bonds toward the bullpen and out of play. And here's a look at the 1994 Chevrolet MVP Award. That's the All-Star MVP trophy, which will be presented immediately following the game. A few candidates have emerged, but the game still very much in doubt. 7-5 American League. The pitch to Clark. Line drive over Ozzie for a hit. Lofton will stop at second.
Tell you what, Bob, this game is mirror imaging most games you see in the major leagues this year. A lot of offense.
Fregosi's move with the left-hander. Here's Clark again, a pitch out away from him. And he drills it to center field, and now Jim Fregosi is coming out again. Look at Clark. Joe, you've watched this guy for so long, and I mean, you talk about somebody who uses the whole ballpark. Balls away, he'll go the other way. He's got power, although his power totals are down this year, but a pure hitter. Will Clark.
Batting .353 in his first year in the American League. Ozzie is now coming out of the game, so we missed our guess. This is the moment. They have to make a move and a double switch. Will Cordero replaces him at short. Rod Beck of the Giants comes out of the bullpen. Jackson yielded hits to 3 straight lefties. He's out, so is Ozzie, and we step aside for a minute. Rod Beck of the Giants in. Late addition to the All-Star squad when Jose Rio of the Reds was scratched. Rio and Larkin both hurt. The Reds technically don't have a representative here, although 2 were named. First at bat for Albert Bell. Look at his eyes, Joe. Just stares a hole through the pitcher.
And Rod Beck does the same thing. So we've got a staring match here, and that's why it's taking so long. You're right. They wanted to see who would back off first.
Beck, as you see, kind of fearsome looking himself, and he says he's had the mustache since the 11th grade. There goes Lofton, double steal. Piazza can't find the ball. And Lofton steals third, the major league leader in swipes, and Clark steals second behind him.
Not an easy ball for Piazza to handle. I don't know if he'd had a chance anyway, Joe, if he makes the catch clean. Little breaking ball down low and away that he let get by. Lofton a major jump, though. He had a huge jump. Will Clark at second. There it is. Little breaking ball down and away that Piazza didn't handle cleanly. And again, I don't know if he has a shot or not.
Well, they're back in the same situation. The infield in again.
You know, it's bad enough you got to play against guys like this on artificial surface. Right. Play it up close with guys like Bell, guys who hit the ball so hard.
Pitch from Beck. Cordero will come to the plate. They've got Lofton with Piazza applying the tag. So that time it worked. Playing the infield in.
You have to play the infield in now because there were 2 runs down in the 7th inning. Before it was a tie ball game. Now when you're 2 runs down, you cannot afford to let any more runs score. Cordero makes a good play, good throw, high throw, keeps it up, and Piazza applies the tag.
There have been 4 hits One of them a double and a walk in this inning. A double steal, and it would have been worse had not Ozzie Smith turned in a brilliant play at shortstop. Here is Sierra, former Ranger, now with Oakland. Bounced foul. He is the first product of the Roberto Clemente Sports City in Puerto Rico. Roberto's dream to make it not just to the big leagues, but to an all-star game. His Oakland A's are 9 under 500, but only 3 back of Texas. In the West, the Rangers lead the West 3 under 500. Could be the first race ever where in September they talk about how many games back a team is in the win column instead of the loss column.
Here you see the number 21 worn by Sierra in honor of Roberto Clemente.
And a pop-up back of second base, and Biggio of the Astros squeezes it. But back-to-back 3-run innings for the American League, and they're up again 7-5. Well, Big Lee Smith, who pitched in plenty of these as a National Leaguer, tries to close it out as a representative of the Baltimore Orioles and the American League. The only 2 pitchers that Cito Gaston hasn't used yet are Jason Beret of the White Sox and Ricky Bonas of the Brewers. Now, the only 2 hitters Jim Fregosi hasn't used are Fred McGriff and Jeff Conine. It'll be Grissom, Biggio, and then one of the 2, my guess would be McGriff.
And both managers, in talking to them before the game, Bob explained that, especially Gaston, saying he was going to go tell the players who probably wouldn't play that there may not be a chance for them to get in the game. Apologize and say, hey, if I can't get you in the game, don't take it the wrong way. As did Jim Fregosi.
Marquise Grissom had an opposite field home run off Randy Johnson back in the 6th that gave the National League a brief 5-4 lead. But in the 7th, the American League scored 3. Nothing since then. 7-5 Americans. They've got 13 hits. The Nationals have 9. And a costly error by Matt Williams overthrowing Carlos Garcia at second led to 2 unearned runs, although Garcia was late covering the bag. The American League trying to nail down their 7th consecutive win in a series once dominated by the National League. The Nationals lead it 37-26 with 1 tie. Oh, major gas.
Find out what that fastball was. Smith reaching back for a little extra that time. You're another guy, Joe. I mean, every once in a while you're going to throw you a little something off speed, but basically here it is, and he's been that way throughout his career. Here's that last fastball. Grissom right through it.
2-2. Fouled off. I don't think Smith, leaving location aside, and there's no question he has better mastery of his pitches this year in Baltimore than he did last year in St. Louis when he struggled and the Cardinals let him go. But I don't think he was throwing this hard a year ago.
I don't know if he throws as hard. I'm sure he's nowhere close to what he was in his prime. He's still up there, but it's nowhere near what he was a few years back.
Drops down a little bit.
Bad enough.
Registers 89, and the count is full. So if Grissom can get aboard, the tying run would come to the plate. In. Grissom is hitting .281, 6 homers, 30 steals, second in the National League to Deion Sanders' 32. Fregosi, who played in 6 All-Star games with the Angels. Gaston played in 1 as a Padre. It holds at 3-2.
Well, he swung at ball 4 twice. A couple of high fastballs from Lee Smith. There's that last pitch. High fastball up around the letters. And Grissom just getting a piece.
Which used to be a strike. No more.
You know, when they wore the balloon protectors, talking about the American League umpires anyway.
Strike zone much tinier. Grissom finally lays off one. Down to first he goes with a leadoff walk.
Well, in his last appearance before the All-Star break, Lee Smith gave up a home run to lose the ball game. And here's the high fastball, just too high, and Grissom lays off.
The crime dog, Fred McGriff, comes out of the dugout, capable of tying it with one swing. He'll get a chance next. If Biggio gets aboard, one swing could win it for the National League. There's McGriff with 23 home runs and 63 knocked home in the first half. Only man in this century to lead both the National and American leagues in home runs. Biggio, as Grissom is chased back, is hitting .320. He's stolen 25 bases. Hard to believe he began his career as a catcher. They had to get him out from behind the plate with his speed and his bat. 0-2.
And that's what Lee Smith does now. He will paint the outside corner with a breaking ball, whereas in the past he really just overpowered the hitters. And I think he needed the change to go to the American League. That is more of a breaking ball league, whereas in the National League he still wanted to overpower the hitters.
Hit hard but foul.
There's one of those hanging breaking balls right there, Joe, or a cut fastball. But as you said, he'll throw the breaking stuff now. Every once in a while a changeup, but he tries to paint on you. Here it is one more time. That looks like a splitter. That's exactly what it is. Split finger fastball. Hardly any rotation on the ball, and Biggio out in front of it and ripped it foul.
Biggio has 35 doubles. That's second in the majors to Nabla. A two-base hit here would make things very interesting. We're in the ninth. 7-5 American League. Just got a piece of it. Cito, 4 division titles, 2 world titles with the Blue Jays, but hard times this year. Hard to believe the defending pennant winners, each well under 500 at the midpoint.
That's amazing, Bob. It really is. Look at that Toronto ball club.
Again on 0-2. And again he hangs in. Fred McGriff next. Fregosi told us before the game he wanted to save McGriff for a late inning situation. Up high. He had Jeffries and he had Bagwell, so he couldn't really work McGriff in the field. Speaking of Fregosi, had to give Jeffries and Bagwell their turns at bat. But now it'll be McGriff in the ninth, in the clutch. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2 to Biggio.
You know, Joe, in difference to Smith a few years back, when he reached back, he ain't worried about painting the corners. Here he's trying to hit the outside, and he missed off the outside corner. But years ago, a couple of years back, when this guy had the good fastball, there was no messing around. It was, here it is, go get it.
And he steps off. Big Lee at age 36, leading the American League in saves. In fact, leading the majors. And that one also makes the seats.
Well, as intimidating as Lee Smith is with his size and with the great fastball, though, he never really intimidated the hitters. He didn't knock anyone down, 0-2. He basically would come inside, but he didn't knock very many people down, so he's done it straight-laced.
terrific at bat for Biggio.
It really is. Smith is throwing him everything so far. The splitter, fastball, off speed.
He smacks it down at third. Cooper comes up with it. Safe at first. Biggio keeps them out of the double play, and not many right-handed hitters would have beaten that because the ball was smoked down at Cooper.
I was still a little surprised that he beat it, but watch now. What happens here is watch Cooper. He takes one extra step there. That's where he lost the double play. But again, real good hustle there by Biggio. He beats the play at first base. But most right-handed hitters, you're right, would have been out on this. They turn it very well. Good hustle by Biggio. Knobloch, Grissom puts a little pressure on him, but he gets off a good throw.
So that sustains the drama because McGriff is the tying run at the plate. Smith with 29 saves for Baltimore. McGriff fouls it off. Cito has played it according to plan. He's got his closer in there.
And Fergosi's got his man too, Bob.
Fergosi trying to stave off the 7th consecutive National League defeat. 1 on 1 out, the 0-1 pitch. Smith's 29 saves leads the American League by 10. Rick Aguilera has 19. He's second best.
But Bob, you must wonder at age 36, can he keep this up for an entire season? And Baltimore is going to need him down the stretch if they will play the entire season. So that's something you have to be aware of if you're the Orioles.
The 0-2 to McGriff. Orioles, of course, right there with the Yankees in the East. Cleveland and Chicago close in the Central. White Sox have won 6 straight. With the possibility of a strike looming, the series right after the break between Cleveland and Chicago takes on urgency. Players remember the split season of '81. Don't know when the season might resume. That'll make the seats, as Mike Hargrove, the Indian manager, said. We're going to play all these games as if it was September. You might see some strange things. Absolutely. Guys going on 3 days rest and whatever else as the strike date looms.
That's been much of the talk here, along with all of the celebrating that's gone on with the All-Star game.
I'm a little bit surprised that Biggio doesn't take second base because they're not holding him on, and he can at least stay out of the double play. Will Clark way behind him, and Biggio's very good base stealer.
There he goes. And the ball is skied to left center field. Lofton goes back. Lofton to the fence. She's gone! When McGriff crosses, it's tied at 7.
McGriff, if you throw the ball away from him, he will go the other way, and he can drive it out of the ballpark. Not a bad pitch from Lee Smith, down and out over the plate, but Freddie McGriff drives it over the left center field wall.
And Three Rivers is alive.
Well, yesterday in that home run hitting contest, McGriff was the leader until Griffey hit. And here tonight on a fastball down low and away, he got it off.
And he's the leader again tonight.
Absolutely, he is the leader. Yep.
Tied at 7 in the 9th. Here's Bagwell.
I mentioned earlier Lee Smith gave up a home run in the 9th inning to Mark McGwire on Sunday to lose the ball game. The Orioles lost to Oakland.
Also
in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and 2 to Bagwell, who had a single his last time up. Will Cordero is next. Strength against strength, and McGriff was better. Toward the middle. Smothered, and Knobloch scrambles to his feet with a terrific play. Great play by Knobloch, Joe.
Very good play. This is the toughest play for a second baseman, anything to your right. But watch how quickly he gets up after he makes the stop. No contest at first base either. Look, he gets up very quickly, gets rid of the ball, gets Bagwell by about 5 steps. Excellent play here by Knobloch. He plays on AstroTurf, so he knows how to play AstroTurf, and that's an excellent play there.
Cordero. Now, unless the National League scores here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, we're looking at an interesting situation. The managers rightly try to get everybody in. Now the benches are depleted. This is a non-DH game in the National League Park. Weird things could happen here if this game goes 12-13 innings. Cordero grounds it down to Cooper. We go to the 10th. McGriff kept it alive. The 65th All-Star game is tied at 7.
Homeowners.
Back we go 27 years. Anaheim, July of 1967. Tony Perez takes Catfish Hunter deep. And it's the deciding blow in the longest All-Star game in history. It went 15 innings. Now, the rules do provide that once a game is in extra innings, a pitcher can work more than 3. They're limited to 3 within a regulation game. There's Tony Perez.
And his wife, Patuca.
Major League Baseball International broadcasting the game to over 60 million people in 139 countries in 8 languages, including Spanish, of course, and Tony is handling those duties. Another Tony, Gwynn to start it. Moises Alou next, and then Darren Fletcher.
Jason Bray now. White Sox right-hander on.
Gwynn has a double in 4 trips. Breaking ball in there. Bray pitched 5 1/3 on Saturday in his last outing. So he's on 2 days rest here. 9-2, ERA 3.56. Chopped over the mound. They'll have no play, even if Knobloch could have flagged it down, which he couldn't. So Gwynn is 2 for 5, which in a sense is a typical night.
And that's why
400.
That's why Tony Gwynn is such a good hitter, though. Beret was ahead of him, makes a good pitch, and watch him. He just hits this with nothing but hands. There's a curveball breaking down. Look at it. He just reaches out, chops it back through the middle. Base hit.
Tony Gwynn hitting .383 entering the game. His single season high was .370 in 1987. He's a career .332 hitter, counting the first half of this season. Wade Boggs' highest lifetime batting average, .335, so Gwynn is close. Moises Alou. Fastball up and away.
Kind of hard thrower. Jason Beret with a good breaking ball. Although the breaking, as you said, Joe, the breaking ball that Gwynn hit, not a bad pitch.
No.
0-2 curveball.
Alou is pretty much a first ball hitter. The first strike he sees, he will be hacking.
First at bat of the night for him. Swinging a drive into the gap in left center field. And up against the fence. This could do it. Being waved home is Gwynn. They got to play Rodriguez. Safe. Safe. And the 6-game drought is over for the National League. September, Moises Alou was stretched out on the turf home at Busch Stadium. Dislocated left ankle, fractured lower leg. His leg grotesquely twisted. And you would have bet his career was in jeopardy. He has come back to hit .331 with 18 homers in the first half and to drive home the game-winning run with a double to left center in his lone at-bat in this 1994 All-Star game. In 10 innings, the National League ends the American League's 6-game winning streak, 8-7. Let's go to Johnny Bench with Moses Salou.
4 innings ago, Moses.
You said it, and I did it. I was just lucky to get another at-bat. I wanted to do something good for the team. 10 to Freddie, tie it up. He should be the hero. And first All-Star game, I got a chance to play, and I think I did pretty good.
You sure did. A lot of inexperience on the National League team, but it proved to be a big win. Again, up there, Bob, the National League comes through an extra inning.
Off the base of the wall on the fly, Albert Bell's relay to Ripken, and Ripken's throw right on the money to Rodriguez couldn't have been much closer. They might have had him, but Paul Runge was right there. Here's another angle.
Now we get another look at it, but how about the coaching job of Jimmy Leland at third? He never stopped him. And a perfect relay throw by Ripken. They knew they had a play on him. Here's Gwynn. We get a different angle. And he's in there. He's in there. Absolutely. Great call by Runge. Absolutely.
From that angle, you could see the tag was high on the leg. So even though the ball beat him, Rodriguez can't get it down.
He's in right there.
Gwynn is in there.
Absolutely. Yep.
For Bob Uecker, Joe Morgan, Greg Gumbel, Hannah Storm, and Johnny Bench, I'm Bob Costas. So long from Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Nationals finally break through. They win it 8-7. Good night.